What is the worst best cockblock you have ever given, gotten, or witnessed? Second year at university. I was sorta seeing this girl. Nothing was official. We were at a club with some mates of ours and this guy starts obviously hitting on her. I then ask my mate to step in and cockblock him. He, in his not so sober state, proceeds to step in between them, grab his face, and then make out with him. My mate is a straight guy and this shocked everyone. Needless to say he moved on out of fear my mate would continue any future advances. Champion wingman. Sophomore year of college. I was at a friend's party and a girl I'd gone to high school with walked in with her friend. I had a small crush on this girl in high school and was feeling the liquid confidence in my brain. So I started talking with her about this and that. It led to us alone in the basement. Everyone else went upstairs to play a drinking game or something, and showing each other our tattoos. One was on her left boob and she, with a very flirty look in her eyes, says, "Hang on. Let me show you the whole thing." She goes to unhook her bra when her friend yells from the top of the stairs that she's bored and wants to find a random party to crash. It was obvious that the girl was very drunk and my new lady friend sighed heavily and said she had to go babysit her friend. That was the most last minute cockblock I've ever experienced. My daughter got me pretty good. So I take my daughter to the bookstore to buy a new book. She's turning 4 at the time, and I meet this really cute blonde elementary teacher. I start a conversation with her. She's all googly-eyed over my very adorable daughter. It was great. Then as I'm about to get her number my daughter says, "Okay daddy. Enough talking to the cute girl. I want to go home." I chuckle and say, "Just a minute sweetie. We're about to leave." She looks at the girl, dead in the eye, who's now blushing, and says, "Daddy picked his nose on the way here." Grabs my hand and marches me off. I'm just left speechless. My friend was a cockblock for Halloween. Once. His costume was just a giant foam wedge. And he'd ram himself between couples at the party. Huge success. When I was a freshman in college, I was living in a 1-bedroom apt with my buddy, which meant we shared a bedroom with 2 beds. One night, I had gone to bed early and was awoken by my roommate saying he needed the bedroom to himself and his GF for a little while. I got up reluctantly and said in half a daze, "Nobody ever pays me in gum," and walked out. About 5 minutes later he comes out and says I can't go back to sleep in my bed because what I had said made his GF laugh too much and it killed the mood. My bad. New Year's Eve and we were all at a bar. The ball had dropped and now everyone was getting wasted. A friend was dancing with some girl on the dance floor. Typical bumping and grinding. They start making out and you can tell she's gonna go home with him. My friend excuses himself to go to the bathroom. After he finishes, he strikes up a conversation with a different girl near the bathrooms. They talk for a minute and then start making out. He once again excuses himself to go back to the dance floor to get back with the first girl. Turns out the 2 girls were there together and were best friends. Dude cockblocked himself because he got too greedy. A man came to a Halloween party of mine as Captain Cockblock with his trusty sidekick, the Punacon. Captain Cockblock had a black bodysuit that only showed his face, and a shield with a dick and a no sign over it. The Punacon was dressed as a doctor with a massive red strap-on DLDO on his head and a clipboard. The strap-on had a condom on it. Whenever anybody at the party looked like they might be vaguely close to getting laid, Captain Cockblock made an entrance and the Punacon read STD statistics and symptoms from his clipboard. Nobody got laid that night. Freshman year of college I always wanted to climb this tree that I passed on the way to class. The lowest branch was always just out of reach. So one night my friend invited me to a party in his dorm and I happened to walk by the tree. I decided to try and see if I could reach the branch just for shits and giggles. I actually ended up succeeding and climbing into the tree. What I didn't realize was that my friend was trying to chat up this girl about 75 yards away. While I was in the tree I think I woke up a squirrel who started angrily squirrel swearing at me and running around the branches. I fell out of the tree and the girl was actually facing the direction of the tree. She saw me fall and was like, hey, I think someone just fell out of that tree. She was too busy doting on me and my friend was like, fkin A. How did I know it was you? PL. DR, it was the squirrel's fault. One time I was visiting my sister at college when I was a junior in high school. She had a party at her apartment and everyone was pretty drunk and having a good time. I was hitting it off with this one girl when the girl comes up to me and says, snakebite 4789, I broke my pants, can you come help me fix them? I look down to see her unbuttoned pants when my sister runs over, screams they aren't broken, buttons them up and drags me away. Never know. Your sis could have known what that fag was swimming with. When I was a senior in college, this freshman girl my roommate was hitting on was all weirded out about how much younger she was than him and kept going on about it. So I went up to her and said, you said you're 3 years younger than him? She said yeah. So I go, you're 28? You are an utter dick. I love it. Once when I worked at a bar I got a guy to roofie himself. I worked a bar. Done. And one night we were super busy. I noticed that on one side of the bar there was a guy trying to chat up a bird and she was clearly not interested. Nothing weird here. Lots of people suck at chatting up women. I would see this often. Anyway. Guy calls me over and orders 2 beers. One for him and one for the lady. Anyway, as I turn I noticed out of the corner of my eye him fumbling with something. I assume he was taking something, again. Not uncommon to see. I watched him though and he dropped some kind of pill into the girl's drink. As he turned to tell her the drinks were up I moved over and switched the glasses round. Later in the night the bouncer told me about a guy he had to roll out the back door cause he had passed out in the toilets causing a line. After a few questions it turned out to be the guy who unknowingly drugged himself. Good job. This is the best kind of cockblock. 2 people were having sex in a car. 2 drunk people proceeded to jump up and down on said car. Doing some light S+M. Spanking my girlfriend's ass. When suddenly, her golden retriever jumped on the bed and laid her snout across girlfriend's ass. And gave me the eyes. It's a little known fact that golden retrievers are the most puritanical of all breeds and will not tolerate S+M in their presence. I'm not sure if this counts. But oh well. A friend and I were sitting down at a table in a bar. Having a few drinks. 2 girls came over and sat down on the other side of the table. So naturally my friend and I were keen to start a conversation. Suddenly, some guy walked over near the table. And stood around for perhaps 20 seconds. Looking at his phone. Before walking away. Horrible smell then descended upon us. The dude had walked over and unleashed a hell fart. And just walked off. Everyone could smell it. It was the type of odor that is almost physically assaulting you. The 2 girls looked at us with an expression of horror and disdain. Before quickly getting up and hurrying off. We just sat there dumbfounded. Thinking back, I should have blamed my friend. Happened to me a few years ago. Was talking to this cute girl at a party all night. Got her number. Took some shots. Took some pictures together. Finally on our way home and she's sitting on my lap in the backseat reaching her hand up my shirt and sh*t. Guy in shotgun gets out and the driver goes, hey, the girl, wanna come sit up front, I can't really see at the back window when you're on his lap. FCK that guy. What? Did he have the child lock on or something? Otherwise I can't imagine him being able to prevent you from getting out of the car. When I was a senior in high school, there was this drop dead gorgeous young woman sitting alone at the corner of the coffee shop we were at. My friends dared me to hit on her. We ended up hitting it off very well. And appeared to be somewhat compatible. Right as I'm about to invite her elsewhere, my friend runs up to me, frazzles my hair and screams he's a male prostitute. It didn't make any sense. But it was awkward enough for the young woman to excuse herself. Friend of mine walked in on a guy and the guy's girlfriend going at it. At a party. Stood at the door and waited till they noticed. At a bar on Halloween. A girl my friend was talking to got distracted by this other guy while he was in the restroom. He was trying to pull some fast moves, so I started to move awkwardly close next to him. He turned and said, "What the FCK, man?" Full stop. I just started talking to him like I had no idea I was doing anything weird. "Hey man, cool costume. How is your night going? Sweet bar this place is." Full stop. Girl turns away and goes to find my friend. As soon as she does, I just walk away from the other dude mid-sentence. Would have loved to have seen his face. My friend was going through a breakup, so I was looking after her. We went to trivia night with my normal 2 couples and she subbed in for my so. A guy reeking of cologne and stale beer came over and crouched down by my friend and put his arm around her chair. "I just had to come over here and tell you how beautiful you are." She looked uncomfortable and had been fighting back tears for several days. I put my leg on the rung of her chair and reached out and touched her leg. I butched up a bit and said, "Excuse me. But she is here with me." "Oh. Also. You're. Like. Together?" "Yeah. We're together." "Oh. Sorry man." I love that he called me man since I'm a girl. Way back. My brothers and friends went to Europe and took the trains around. We met some Southern Belle type girls from America while in Berlin at some beer garden. They asked us back to their room at a youth hostel. Everything was going great. Was kissing. Was fondling. Was ich bin meta Berliner. And then creepy French guy. The guy who was in charge of the place started banging on the door. He actually let himself in while the girl's top was off. No one spoke German. But the girls knew he spoke French and they did only minimally. But it was enough for him to kick us boys out. We walked back to our hostel bobbing up and down. With 2 weeks of Eurorail frustration pointing at our own cock-blocked faces. I thought I was going score in Europe. Instead, I had to wait until the communal shower was unoccupied and send it sadly down the German sewer system. TL. Doctor met some southern girls in Berlin. Instead of sending my seed in utero to Georgia, it became part of the Baltic Sea. Your pun game is out of control. A bit of both. Really. I went out with my roommate, Ben. We're wingmen. Information. See a hot blonde and her hideous friend. The blonde is a 6 to 7/10. The friend is about 5 feet 5. Around 250. 260 pounds. And has a beard. I'll call her Hilda. Ben goes into full-on woman mode and is ensuring that the evening is proceeding as planned for me and the blonde. We go back to our place. Me and the blonde in the living room. Ben and Hilda in his room. The blonde sitting in my lap. Making out. Takes a break and whispers in my ear, "We can go further if Hilda gets some." I told her to hold on and go talk with Ben. I tell him what blonde said. I tell him that I'm not going to ask him to spend the night with Hilda. We realize that blonde is the wingwoman for Hilda. I shot down Hilda. By turn blocking myself. TL. Dr. Male wingman team meets female wingman team. Male wingman can't ask buddy to go through with ugly. Cockblock self in process. Had a friend tell a girl that I really liked anal. In an attempt to cockblock. Turns out she had always wanted to try it. I was at a bar with a female friend of mine. The bartender was flirting with me quite a bit. And I was flirting back with her. After a couple beers, my friend and I were getting ready to go down the street to meet up with a few more friends. After we paid our tabs. But before I could get the bartender's number, my friend stands up and says as loudly as she can, "Alright, McRae 82. Let's go so I can suck your dick." Then she walks out. The entire bar, the bartender included, stopped talking and just looked at her as she walked out. Then looked at me. Then back at her as she walked out. I was so completely stunned, embarrassed. I couldn't even say anything. I just got up and walked out. I'm not a bar person. But I was under the impression that female bartenders often act flirty because it helps with the tips. Towards the end of a party, My friend was walking to his car with a girl he was hitting on all night so they could drive to his place. 5 feet from the car, some guy standing on the sidewalk having a smoke break who apparently drank way too much suddenly projectile vomited all over the girl. She is understandably upset and embarrassed about being covered in vomit, and immediately loses all interest in a hookup and just wants to go home to shower and change. Her and her friend, who I was hitting on all night, leave together in their car. We never saw that guy or either of those girls again. To this day, we have no idea who that mysterious reverse Cupid was. From a student. Apparently his brother was bringing home a girl, and he had just gotten a horse head mask. They opened the door and he's standing there with no clothes on wearing the mask. Many notes were given out by her. There was a girl I was really into and we both got pretty drunk at a party. She proceeds to ask me, I can't find my purse. It might be in your car. Do you want to go outside and help me look for it? Her friend overheard and told her that her purse was right here and to come over and talk to her. I then overheard her friend tell her that she was drunk. She was. But not that bad, and that she would regret it. I never did hook up with her. She could have been the love of my life. Freshman year of college. Drunk at a party laying down my mad macking skills on a fine honey. Friend walks up to me for some reason, the girl and I are talking about some kind of sports thing. I'm telling her there's no way she can beat me and my friend says yeah, cause she's way too fat. She gets super pissed and storms off. I turn to my friends and before I can give him a what the hell, he puts his hand on my shoulder and says, dude, she was 15. You're welcome. And goes back to partying. That's not a cock block. That's looking out for a friend. You go thank him right now. Platonic friend of mine was visiting from out of state. I go with her and a mutual friend to a crowded bar. We're hanging back waiting for some seats to open up when some guy finally settles up his tab and takes off. Visiting friend takes the stool so we can finally get some orders in and I notice the middle-aged dude sitting to her left is busy swiping right on Tinder. Dude is thirsty. He notices the Asian girl sitting to the right of him and straightens up his appearance a bit before he starts chatting her up. I can't hear what he's saying but the body language and the look on his face are obvious. So I'll let things play out for a bit before I come up. Casually put my arm around her and ask, did you order our drinks yet? Babe? He gets the message right quick and flashes a smile of resignation before he finishes his drink and bids us a good evening. First round was on her. She was grateful. Does it really count as a cock block if it never would have happened anyway? Honestly, my daughter. Biggest clock blocker in history. She sees a man come over. All of a sudden it's, mommy, I need a hug. Let me cuddle you. I must sleep with you tonight. I'm going to stay up until 4 AM. She's 3. She knows what she's doing. One time my potential lover had to sleep on the couch. She made sure I never got any play that night. Just think. One day she will be a young woman. And then you get to cock block her. Was visiting my girlfriend over winter break from college a few years back. We are sitting on a large sofa chair in the living room with a blanket over us when she starts to play with my dick. Out of nowhere her little sister enters the room and jumps on top of us. Luckily my girlfriend was able to hide my boner and the sister was none the wiser. But it killed everything. At the bar. Talking to a lady outside. Things were going good. My friend drunkenly kicks open the door and shouts, Stuart. Stuart. And the lady and I look at him and then back at each other and she says, well, help your friend out and I'll talk to you later. So about an hour later I'm talking to her again outside and her ex-boyfriend shows up. Drunk as all hell. And starts yelling at her and her friends, calling them all SLTS and WH resin pieces of shit. Takes his shirt off like he's trying to fight them. His friends are telling him it's time to leave. Well, they all ended up leaving. TL. Does cock blocking yourself count? When I was 19 I went to go visit my friend at college. She kept saying stuff like, what perfect timing. I just broke up with my boyfriend. Or I'm super excited you're staying over. We went out and had a nice dinner. Got back to her dorm and she brought up the sleeping arrangements. She said, "You can sleep in my bed if you want." To which I so smoothly replied, "Okay, but where are you going to sleep?" She just said, "Oh." I slept on the floor. Overall it wasn't that bad of a visit, but I slapped the shite out of myself the next day when I realized what I had done. She was a good looking girl. Edit. Typos. Oh, so many typos.